Is the day of reckoning finally upon us with Manchester City? Will we finally see them held responsible for the accusations of breaches of financial fair play that have been held against them? Probably not, if we're going to be entirely honest. But it does seem as though there's a light at the end of the tunnel for all of this nonsense. Now, it's being reported that the CEO of the Premier League is hoping to have these accusations resolved sometime in the wintertime. Me personally, I kind of have differing opinions on how I feel about the whole debacle of these accusations with Manchester City. On one hand, any accusations that have been placed against City that are true, I want them to be held responsible and be punished accordingly. The unfortunate reality, though, is appropriate punishments for Manchester City. It's hard to even rationalize what that would be because we've never even seen this sheer of financial fair play breaches done in the Prem before. If they're found guilty, I do think the punishment will be rather large. And at the end of the day, the reason I feel bad is that impacts the players and the fans. And as far as I'm concerned, they have had nothing to do with any wrongdoings that have been done by the club. And the fans are the ones who build these clubs, and the players are the ones who earn the success for these clubs. Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Erling Haaland, none of these guys are responsible for any wrongdoings that have happened at the club. As far as I'm concerned, too, I'm pretty sure all of the accusations on City have happened prior to even Pep Guardiola taking over as manager. So you could argue that, he's not even responsible for any of the wrongdoings they're being accused of. Additionally, all of the fans, I feel for them. There's a lot of fake Manchester City fans, and when I say that, people have just decided to support City in the past 2 years. And then there are a lot of fans that are long-time Manchester City supporters, right? The people that used to go to Main Road, that saw Manchester City get relegated, to them becoming, European champions, multi-time Premier League champions. I feel bad for those people because they're not responsible for what some dorks in suits did that was shady and ultimately have put the club in kind of bad standing. You also have to analyze what the punishment will be. If it's just straight out relegation, personally, I don't like that. I do kind of understand point deductions, and I think point deductions are a good variable to where you can measure the wrongdoing versus the amount of points that are subtracted from the team. But at the same time, I don't really like when teams are subtracted points in the middle of the season. I like, if you're going to deduct a team points, just do it at the beginning of the season or the beginning of the next season. Granted, I also look at it from a perspective of, if City are deducted points, the sheer amount of points that they would have to be deducted for it to actually make a relevant impact on the club, it would have to be a lot. Put it this way. If you take the last 4 seasons, which Manchester City have won the Premier League, if you deducted 50 points, which is an incredible amount of points, they wouldn't even be relegated in those 4 seasons. So you would have to probably assume that, let's say if you were to deduct 50 points from Manchester City, they would probably still remain in the Premier League. Yes, they would miss out from the Champions League for the next season, but at the end of the day, what sort of punishment is that? They're not going to see any real ramifications for that outside of, maybe Pep leaves then, maybe they lose a bunch of players, but I still think it's likely that Manchester City would return to prominence if that was to happen. I think a lot of people have some opinions on this just based on the fact that Manchester City have been so dominant. Seeing them get punished for some accusations, it would bring them joy because you just don't have to deal with City winning all the time. And I get that. But for me personally, it's unfortunate because the people who are accused of doing this wrongdoing at the club, they're not the ones who people buy tickets for or tune in to watch. They're not the fans that support the club. So I don't feel as though the people who will be punished for the crime are the people that even committed it. And that's really, really unfortunate. At the end of the day, that's no excuse. These clubs just can't commit offenses and then go unpunished just because, the fans will be the ones who are punished or the players will be the one who are punished. It's unfortunate. I'm very, very interested to see how Manchester City will be punished if they're even found guilty. I find it hard to believe that they won't be found guilty because it's 115 charges. At the end of the day, innocent until proven guilty. But if someone is accused of a crime with 115 counts, you're probably going to assume that at least one of those counts is accurate. So I think we just have to wait and see. But I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you think City will be found guilty? If so, what do you think the punishment will be? Also, while you're there, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that little notification bell so you know every time I make a new video. Currently on the track to 1,000 subscribers, so I appreciate any and all support I could be given, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.